What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John and this is John Paul Investing. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about Nano Dimension, and I noticed that Nano Dimension's short interest has been on the rise. So what shorting a stock means is essentially an investor is going to borrow the shares and immediately sell them with the hope or intention of buying them back at a cheaper price. So when you're shorting a stock, you have to have a margin account because you're essentially borrowing money in order to sell the stock immediately with the promise to buy it back at a cheaper price. If the stock starts to run up and you're on the short side, then eventually you'll get to a point where you do not meet the minimum margin requirements in your account. And what's going to end up happening is the broker is going to force you to buy back the stock that you borrowed in order to sell originally. Even if it's at a loss, it does not matter to them because you are required to maintain a certain amount of money in that account. So once you do fall below that threshold, then you are forced to liquidate your position, or in this case, buying back the stock. So especially in smaller cap stocks, this could lead into a short squeeze. And what a short squeeze is essentially a bunch of buying pressure that happens as a result of a lack of supply of the stock, and they start to get margin called in bulk. So what ends up happening is the short positions end up getting closed, which adds buying pressure. And if you already have buying pressure, the buying pressure is essentially amplified. And the more buying pressure you have, the higher the bids go and the more price runs up. So here is an example of a short squeeze that I wanted to bring up. Here we see in Tesla stock around, I would say late August, early September, that we saw this huge rally in Tesla's stock price. This was a result of a very large short interest in Tesla stock. As buying pressure started to increase, there simply was not enough supply of Tesla stock for these investors. So what ended up happening is short sellers who were, very bearish on the stock. We already know about all of these notorious short sellers of Tesla stock who are just betting against it over and over again and, consistently losing money in that case. But that's another story. They ended up having to cover their positions, and, this compounded the buying pressure on Tesla stock. And as a result, we did see Tesla stock run up, and it ran up hard. So I went on marketbeat.com in order to check out the short interest in Nano Dimension, and I found out that right now the current short volume on Nano Dimension stock is around 11.5 million shares. Now right here it says outstanding shares are around 35.5 million. This is not at all accurate. Right now Nano Dimension is sitting on around 133 or 135 million shares. I'm not sure the exact figure, but it's around that ballpark. And out of those 135 million shares, I do think that at least a third is tied up in institutional equity, which if we were to assume those numbers, I would say that there's probably like 60 or 70 million shares of Nano Dimension in float right now. And what this means is that these are shares that are pretty much openly available for the market, that investors have been exchanging hands a lot. And I think that right now, with 11.5 million out of those shares, we're looking at, a pretty sizable percentage of these shares in short interest. So looking at the chart, Nano Dimension has been very quiet as of lately, and pretty much since, the last week of December up until now. Pretty much about a month almost, it's been trading in this range. And I think it is setting up for a very strong move on the upside. And the reason I say this is because whenever a stock likes to trade sideways for an extended period of time, all this does is build up pressure, and eventually this pressure is going to explode. So in this area of consolidation, I have a strong feeling or conviction that once it breaks above 10.50 and closes, we're going to see a very strong parabolic move on the upside, and I'm predicting around a $12.50 to $15 target price. Now, when exactly this could happen, I could not say for certain, but I will say that once price starts to move away from the $10 range, there's a whole bunch of limit orders sitting right above this high right here right now. And I can tell you right now that the longer it stays trading below $10.50, limit orders are going to start accumulating around this level. And I think price is going to react very hard once it gets to this level. We could see a strong pullback and then a bounce and then a short squeeze, or we could just break above 10.50 and then just go straight into the short squeeze. It's really hard to determine exactly how it's going to pan out, but I have a very good feeling that when it does break out, it's going to break out hard. I also wanted to bring up the fact that ARK Invest is still buying into Nano Dimension, and as of recently, they have been buying in heavy over the past week or so. And we can see this here because they were going from around 4.7 million or 4.77 million to 4.8 million. That's about 30,000 shares. And as of recently, they've been stacking around 100 to 150,000 shares daily. So here we see they jumped from 5.07 or around 5,070,000 up to 5.25 million shares, up to almost 5.5 million shares, and now almost 5.7 million shares in Nano Dimension stock. And again, this is only in their ARKQ holdings. If we go to ARKW, they have been buying as well, but it really hasn't been as much buying as we would see in ARKQ. And really, I just think ARK Invest wanted some position built up in their other ETF, so that way people in the other ETF or investors in the other ETF did have some exposure to Nano Dimension stock. As of now, ARK Invest does have a pretty sizable holding in Nano Dimension. If we add the 3.8 million shares in ARKW and the 5.6 million shares in ARKQ, we have around almost 9 million shares, or a little bit more than 9 million shares in Nano Dimension stock. And if we're to go based on, total shares outstanding, that means that ARK Invest owns about 6.5%, almost 7% of Nano Dimension. And, this is a very big stake in an emerging company. And I think they're really betting big on Nano Dimension as of now, and they're continuously showing us so. Now, it's really hard to predict where exactly stock price can go, but I have a strong conviction that it's at least going to go to the next strike price of $12.50 in the options. And if for any reason we do see some insane buying pressure, unprecedented, then I would not be surprised to see a 50% increase in Nano Dimension stock price. When exactly this is going to happen, I could not tell you, but I will tell you that there is going to be a squeeze of some kind. And when it happens, it is going to be some kind of parabolic move, and I really see it coming. Now, of course, this is not financial advice, but this is just my opinion and from previous experience, and I think that this is something very feasible to assume, and it is very possible this could happen. So I'm still a holder of Nano Dimension stock, and I'm awaiting this this huge parabolic rise in Nano Dimension. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I have a tingly feeling that it's going to happen at some point in the near future. But anyways, guys, that is it for this video. If you liked what you were watching, please go ahead and hit that like button. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell notification to get notified when I make videos just like this one. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.